What's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. My name is Tyler Adolfo, and I have a diagnosis of bipolar type 1 with psychotic features. I was diagnosed with this condition 2 times in my life, once in late 2021 during my fall semester of college, and then again in early 2022. These diagnoses occurred during a 6-month-long manic episode that I suffered from. During this manic episode, I suffered from a myriad of severe delusions that hindered my intuition, hampered my ability to appreciate right from wrong, and greatly diminished my capacity to recognize reality for what it was. I went into psychosis. I had a psychotic break with reality. My mania didn't start off incredibly intense, but it intensified rather quickly. In the beginning, my mania was beneficial to some degree. It made me more confident talking to women. It made me feel more capable and productive in pursuit of my goals and aspirations. But this wouldn't stay the case for long, and that's the topic for this video. I'm going to talk about why that wasn't the case for long. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the turning point and the severe delusions that transpired during the tail end of my manic episode. I'm going to list and set forth in detail the variety of delusions I had. I'm not going to rank these delusions by order of craziest or anything of that sort. I'll leave that up to you because I know that opinions may vary, and I don't have a particular order myself. All of these were detrimental to my productivity and mental well-being to some degree, and I just don't see the benefit in necessarily ranking them because they all served a negative purpose in one way or another. One of the craziest delusions I had while manic, towards the tail end of my episode, is that I was related to John F. Kennedy. I thought that I was actually John F. Kennedy Jr. I'm not sure how this delusion developed, but I remember it being a genuinely held belief. It was to the point where I would send messages to other people online, to my friends, to my family, pointing out that I was related to John F. Kennedy. In person, I would have conversations talking about how I was related to John F. Kennedy. And with this came some notable consequences and other delusions about what was going on. One of the things that accompanied it was a strong sense of paranoia. I thought that, similar to how JFK was assassinated, that the same people who did this, or person who did that, were or was after me and chasing me, and that I'm this person of omnipotence who had great secrets to reveal to the world. I was experiencing grandiose thinking, and I thought that I, as JFK Jr., was a special messenger to relay these important messages to the world. What were these messages to the world? One of them was that the end of the world is coming and that people in the government are trying to cover this up. And because of my knowledge, I believed that the government was after me, that the CIA was after me. And this manifested many different occurrences. I would tell my mom that there was a wiretap in our home, that they were listening to us through the walls, through the ceilings, that there were people outside observing us through the windows. I said that there were hidden cameras in the vent in the bathroom. And I would hide in my house and sit for extended periods of time in areas that I believed could not be watched or observed. So I was in an extreme state of paranoia. I thought people were after me. I thought I was this important person with a profoundly important purpose to wake up the world about what's going to happen. And This belief was accompanied by a belief that I was also a Messiah, a sort of Jesus-like figure. And as a Christian, in hindsight, it greatly bothers me that this happened because it's blasphemy. And I still feel greatly ashamed and embarrassed about the fact that I actually believed I was the Messiah, that I believed that I was JFK Jr., that I was related to the Kennedy family, and all the other delusions that manifested themselves. I regret it. I recall one time renting a Hummer limo that I didn't have the funds to pay for. I had most of the funds, but I didn't have all of it. It was like $1,000-something to rent it. And I ended up giving the guy, maybe it was like $800 or $900, I can't remember. But during the Hummer limo ride, I was posting sporadically to social media saying that I was inside a holy caravan and that this holy caravan was on the way to pick up people in my life that I believed were of integral importance to helping me with my mission. And I was tagging specific people from my life, from my fraternity, from my high school that I had graduated from years prior, from my college, friends from all areas of my life. I was tagging them and suggesting that they were going to play an important role in this mission of mine, that some of them would be generals, and that the town that I live in would be under martial law in the incoming future. And as you can imagine, there were a lot of interesting responses to this. People were totally confounded as to why I was saying the things that I was, as to why I was disseminating the information that I was, all of which was entirely nonsensical and not grounded in reality. And I would say it was abundantly clear to anyone observing me and looking at my Instagram stories or my Snapchat posts that there was something off about Tyler Adolfo. It's not normal to say the things that I was saying, and it's not normal to do the things I did. One of the things I did, and this is in connection with my belief that I was the Messiah, I stopped at a church reactory. And inside that church reactory, I signed the guest list as Jesus Christ and left a message for the pastor. I left a note that stated, "Reach out to me. I have returned. I will await your call." Something along those lines. Thankfully, he never contacted me, so I didn't further embarrass myself. But I remember the church reactory employee being greatly concerned at my presence there and by the things that I was saying and the fact that I didn't have all the money to pay the Hummer limo driver. And so I left. And I left with one of the Holy Bibles that was in the book room at the church reactory, which I had taken. I took that Bible, held it up in one hand, and posted on social media, "I am back." Imagine that. Imagine seeing one of your friends or your close loved ones posting that. How do you react to that? How do you even help such a person? How do you help someone who is so mentally impaired, who is in such a debilitating state of mind that they don't have the insight, the intuition to realize that there is something wrong with them? I didn't have the capacity to realize something was wrong with me. So despite the fact that people were reaching out and asking if I was okay, if there's anything they can do to help, it was all to no avail. I interpreted these messages as antagonistic and threatening. I would become immensely angry when anyone challenged the delusions that I held, or when they mocked the delusions that I held. There were just so many extreme beliefs that I possessed during this time. So many blasphemous things. And I remember eventually developing the belief also that we live in a simulated reality, that I felt like I was in a television show, that cameras were always on me, that relatives from heaven were observing me from their position, and that I was always performing for an audience even when there was no one else in the room, no one else in my vicinity. I thought that I was always performing for somebody or someone. I would talk to anyone or anybody who would listen. And there were a lot of people who did, because I guess they were a combination of intrigued, shocked, and concerned about the things that I was saying and the things I was doing. Right? We're all creatures of habit, and one of our habits is that humans are extremely curious creatures. So many people were curious about what was taking place with me, and were concerned about what was taking place with me, about the choices that I was making. It's not a rational decision to just spend $900 on a Hummer limo and call it a holy caravan and then tag all your friends on social media and say that you're going to pick them up. But I did that. It's not rational to believe that you're JFK Jr., that you're related to the Kennedys, and that people are out to assassinate you, that you hold in your hands a truth, a powerful truth that needs to be disseminated out to the world, and that only you can save the world. I felt invincible. I felt like nothing could stop me. No obstacle could crush me. I could persevere through anything. I had such a strong delusion of grandeur. And my delusions of grandiosity just kept getting worse and worse. It is an inescapable fact that these delusions severely negatively impacted my life. Because of these delusions, I would ultimately get expelled by my university for something that I'll talk about in a future video at a future period. I lost a lot of my friends, which probably doesn't come as a particularly huge surprise to many of you, given the things that I just iterated. And in the time since that this has all happened, I've had the opportunity to reflect on everything. The things that I did, the things that I said. I've looked through the text messages that I sent out, and with feelings of great shame and embarrassment, I have deleted most of them because of how embarrassing they were and how ashamed I was about them. In my view, and this is something that a friend of mine recently said to me, and it's really stuck with me. He said, when looking back at the past, we should do so to learn and become better. Otherwise, what are we doing? What benefit would I derive from looking at my past and beating myself up over the things that I believed? At the end of the day, bipolar disorder is a severe brain disorder. It affects only 1% of the world population. 20% of people with this disorder commit suicide. It's an extremely severe mental health condition. I have it. And it's not my fault that I have it. It's not my fault that this illness impaired my abilities. It's not my fault that I acted and conducted myself in such ways where I was speaking blasphemy and rattling off 8 different things in the span of a minute. Oh man, was I a garrulous conversationalist. Nobody could get a word in with me. That's how confident I was in my competence, and that's how strongly I adhered to my delusions. So I hope that you found this video informative. I hope that you found this video helpful. My goal in making these videos about bipolar disorder is to help destigmatize the mental illness and to help spread awareness about the mental illness and the effects that it can have. In many ways, mania and psychosis are similar to the same symptoms you would have with schizophrenia. I had delusions, I had hallucinations, but I don't have schizophrenia. I have bipolar disorder. And some people will tell me, they say, are you sure you have that and not schizophrenia? And that's one of the things that I learned in my research and things that I learned from my psychiatrists and therapists is that bipolar disorder and schizophrenia share a lot of overlap of symptoms. I've learned a great deal from my manic experience, the 6 months. I came to appreciate just how crucial it is to have control of your central command center, because I lost control of my central command center. And it's tough to truly put in words what it's like to lose your sanity. So there's not a day that goes by in my life that I'm not thankful for the restoration of my sanity, for the reinvigoration of my faculties. because now I can focus and be goal-oriented. I can look to the future. I can be forward planning. I'm in a stable place now. My depression has been going down. I had a massive depressive spell, a lengthy depressive spell that followed my manic episode. So even when I was no longer exhibiting manic symptoms, the severe depression that followed still kept me in an unstable state of mind to where I couldn't be productive. I couldn't work, couldn't go back to school. I feel like I'm in a position where I could go back to school now, but I'm going to wait. I'm not going to rush. Balance is so important, and stress can be a huge trigger for an episode. So even though I'm on medications, which greatly reduce the probability of having another episode, they don't eliminate the possibility of having another episode. And the last thing I want, after all the progress I've made, after all my persistence and perseverance and the grit that I've displayed, is to have another episode and to reap further consequences from this severe mental illness. I am not bipolar disorder, but I have bipolar disorder. And I've learned that I have to accept this reality going forward, and it's something I have to keep note of. It's my responsibility, even though it's not my fault. And regardless of whether it's my fault or not, some may disagree. It doesn't change the fact that I will be held accountable for my actions, and that goes for everybody. So going forward, I'm looking at things with a fresh perspective. I know about the possible triggers. I'm educated about the illness I have. I'm taking the necessary steps to help mitigate the possibility of experiencing another significant mental health crisis. And I'm in a better place mentally. And because I'm going to the gym, I'm in a better place physically. I know there's so much to look forward to. I'm optimistic about the future. I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic, because I know that there's going to be more obstacles to overcome. But I truly believe that what separates us is how we react to and overcome obstacles. And I've had a long history in my life of reacting with persistence and being successful as a result. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, especially if you found this video helpful or informative, or if you can relate. Please hit that like button so that more people can see this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions or would like to share your experiences. I do my best to respond to every comment, and I appreciate reading your comments. I am very grateful for every comment that I get. So please don't hesitate to share your thoughts, regardless of how minuscule or major they are. It could be a sentence, it could be 10 paragraphs. It makes no matter to me. I assure you, I will at the very least read them. Thank you so much for devoting so much of your time to watching this. If you're still here, I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Peace out, y'all.